It's the cold hard truth. Everyone really want to know what's going on with her show. Just get on the air and you will know it's Sandra. The queen of the mile road is here, helping people from everywhere. Get on the phone and you will hear Sandra. Now she will tell you how it goes, but don't you ever step on her toes, 'cause you will hear the cold hard truth from Sandra. They say she's the hero in town, helping people from all around. You get a call, your money is found, it's Sandra. Some will call her late at night just to say that there is a fight, and she will not just leave it alone. She'll get up and call on the phone, and when politics starts on her show, everyone really wants to know the way the things will really go with Sandra. And some will start to criticize, get on the show and tell pure lies, but someday we'll realize it's Sandra. And when they start to argue again, she'll pull the heads to the wind, and soon you will be a friend of Sandra. 'Cause every day everyone wanna hear from Sandra. 'Cause every day everyone wanna hear from Sandra. 'Cause every day everyone got to hear from Sandra. 'Cause every day everyone got to hear from Sandra.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Happy Wednesday. Oh my goodness, some weeks are like that. You're not even sure what day of the week it is, but here we are. hmm Everybody doing good? We're doing fantastic here. Gorgeous day in paradise. Well, depends on your definition of gorgeous, because we are getting some rain. I can definitely see that coming your direction based on the skies. I don't even have to read the weather report today. It is coming, but that's okay. These days were beautiful days too. So, thank you guys so much. We're back in the regular YouTube channel. I thought we were in jail until June, but looks like we're not. So, we're back at it again, which is amazing. And of course, it's one of the reasons why we remain very, very compliant. There are rules in life, in case nobody told you, honey child. Yes, there are. And if you're going to follow the rules, then, you know, you have to, well, if you're going to be in the game, you have to know what the rules are, right? Am I right or am I right? I know I'm right, honey child. I know Auntie's right. You can choose not to follow the rules. I remember Aunt Lotta used to say, sure, you can. That's a choice. But when you choose not to follow the rules, then there are consequences for not doing so. there are always consequences for not following the rules. Some of us have gotten away with breaking the rules for so long that we feel a sense of, I don't know, entitlement, that we don't have to follow the rules. I see somebody more worried about Carrie than they are about everything else in life. Y'all better relax yourselves. So I got a phone call last night. Yep. About how she's all up in her feelings. Auntie, she was trying to drag you and talk about everything that she thinks you've done under the sun. I'm like, that is so rich. That would definitely be an example of the pot calling the kettle black. But here's the beauty of it. I don't have to tell you, the people, anything. Anybody with sense. And I guess as long as you're not a newcomer to this island, you guys know what she's all about. I don't have to rehash history. No, child. The facts are on my side. I choose not to put too much energy into certain people. And this is not our first time at the rodeo, Carrie and I. Years ago, I had to permanently end all communication with her because she seems to go off every once in a while. And in all honesty, and I'm not kidding when I say this, I really wish Carrie the best. She does have parts of her personality that are very, what's the word I'm looking for? She has parts of her personality that are somewhat redeeming. But unfortunately, the other parts really leave a lot to be desired. And so you have to decide whether you're going to deal with people as you find them. Give me one quick second. I just need to grab something out of the office here. 1 second, honey child.
I am Richard Hugh, President and CEO of CUC. Our focus has always been on you, our customers. Times are changing, and so are your expectations. We are listening to our employees and the people of the Cayman Islands to find new opportunities that can improve your experience. We are working every day to provide you with a safe and reliable electricity service. You are at the core of everything that we do. We are exploring and adopting new technologies and sources of energy which will benefit you as we become more reliable and more efficient, which will mean lower energy costs. We are working to improve our energy management tools, offer new products and services, and provide 24/7 customer support. Our new vision, empowering Cayman to be a global leader, is building momentum towards a better future for our islands.
Yes, sirree. So, you just have to either accept people how you find them and you accept them in your terms. You can't force relationships. So, if someone doesn't want to be your friend, remember how we were in the playground, they have that choice. And so I think Carrie gets upset when kids on the playground say to her, we don't want to play with you because you're not nice. You don't know how to behave yourself. Right? When I say to Carrie, I'm the teacher on the playground, honey child, and you got to follow the rules. You can't hit the other kids. Remember all those rules in the playground? You can't hit the other kids. You can't be mean to them. You can't use profanity. Definitely not. Back in the day on the school ground, they would take you and give you a good flogging for that kind of behavior. And so y'all can decide whether you want to follow the rules or not. That's not part that I can control. But what I do control is when you don't follow the rules, there will be penalties applied. And it's as simple as that. So she's really in her feelings, although yesterday morning she was claiming that she didn't care. That we had blocked her. Clearly you care. When somebody says, oh, I'm so unbothered, and it's so obvious that you actually are bothered. Yeah, that's you, Carrie. My tweet And the person's like, she's sitting there talking about you and then watching you in the background. Oh, I only feel sorry for Thelma Lou, the cat, because now Thelma might be subjected to not being able to watch the show for a little bit. But we haven't blocked her from watching the show. She can watch it all she wants. She can comment even in the comment section and interact with you guys in that way. We just have blocked her from calling in because that is where the issue lies. So the irony of it is, instead of her being thankful for only a partial block, which you guys know, Auntie do nothing half, instead of her just being grateful for a partial block, here she is complaining and going on and, on and on about me and blah, 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 blah. Good Lord. And I noticed that she had posted that how she's coming after Vanessa. And if anybody knows any dirt on Vanessa, must send it to her. And don't worry, you'll be protected. I thought that was kind of rich because she literally posted that the same day that she called in. And remember what she said in this program: if anyone says anything bad about her, she's going to have my messages subpoenaed so she can find out who's talking bad about her. And then in this post, she turns around and says, you are never exposed when you give her information. Oh, Lord. You just have to, like I said, you have to accept people how you find them. And not always firing at all cylinders, Carrie. The difference is, and this is the God's honest truth, I have always told Carrie, right, what my issues are with her. Ironically enough, back in 2009, I think it was, when I decided that I did not want to have a friendship with her, at that time, I just told her that our personalities didn't really align, but I didn't go into any significant detail about what that meant. And then she pined away, apparently, for years about me. You would have thought the two of us were lesbian lovers, to be quite frank and honest. I mean, I've never been in that type of relationship with a woman, but it felt very, very reminiscent of, when you really like a guy and you can't get over him and you think about him all the time and you got to be posting about him. And some of y'all know that vibe. My friends there from the West, you know that vibe. Every day you posting, say I did this and that and da-da-da-da. And it was like, girl, years later, you still posting about me? We did not have that kind of a relationship. The only thing that I could conclude was my personality is just so, sparkly that once you've had me as a friend, losing me as a friend must be a hard hit. I don't know. But girlfriend, she was acting like me and her were doing something else. People were questioning me like, what kind of relationship you had with Carrie? I'm like, look, don't mess with me, So, I thought she'd kind of gotten over that crazy vibe for a minute, but like I said, take people how you find them. That's how they are, honey child. So you're in your feelings at the moment, Carrie. Here's the good news. You'll feel better tomorrow. And the day after that, hopefully, you'll feel even better. And slowly but surely, you will get over the fact, or not, and either way, it doesn't really matter. You'll get over the fact that you have been blocked from calling in to CMR. And it's sad. Oh, by the way, she claims that every time she calls in, my numbers go through the roof. I love a person who is overly confident. Dun, 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 dun. Folks, we call it the Dunning-Kruger syndrome. If you don't know what it is, honey child, please go look it up. Go and look that ish up because y'all need to know. Anyway, bless your little heart. Bless you, and bless you. I was actually going through ever slowly, through one of my videos that I'm watching right now with Stephen Bartlett, where he's actually being interviewed. It's not often you find him being interviewed. A lot of times it is other people that he's interviewing other people. He's the guy who does the Diary of a CEO. And so this is actually a really good interview with him. And sometimes when you're listening to when you're listening to these podcasts and stuff, it takes you a minute to get through it. Well, for me, because I don't just do one listen. Like I listen and I pause and I got to think about it. I'm like, oh my God, he has got so many amazing points, right? And so this is what I have found with this particular episode, this interview that I'm watching of Stephen. He is really, really on point. And there's something in it that he actually said, and I'm going to make you guys listen to it here in a second, because it resonated with me in such an incredible way. And quite frankly, you know, it's good to, he's in a similar space, obviously a content creator. And there's a whole world out there now of what it means to be a content creator. And some of us actually take this like a job. Like it's, you know, we try to be serious about it. It's not something that you just throw up YouTube and start talking pure foolishness, or just jump on Facebook and, you know, spout whatever nonsense comes out of your mouth. No, we take this very seriously. And so I think that people get that and they know who the serious individuals are. And oh yes, please do. Yes, we got more footage coming here. I think we've identified 2 of the people already. Okay, good. Yes. So anyway, you know, what he had to say really, really resonated with me. And I want to share a clip of that, a snippet this morning with you guys, because yeah, he is amazing. I just absolutely love him from the perspective that, you know, he's a deep thinker. Like he really has gotten to space, and he didn't get there accidentally. You know what I mean? He has worked hard. He has focused on building his brand, and he helps other content creators actually to build their brand and stuff as well. And there's a formula to this if you're going to do it right. So I'll share some of that, but we do have quite a bit that we want to get through today and to cover. So I'm going to clip that out. And for those of you who want to watch the interview, let me see here. Now I'm going to share the link here as well. Go on and watch it, because it's really going to be worth almost an hour of your time. Abby is making me laugh this morning about hashtag free Carrie. Marshall, good morning. Good morning to Maris and Debbie. Marshall says she is free, just can't call in. Exactly. Restricted. Leroy, I'm so happy to see you here on the show this morning. I saw Leroy yesterday riding his bike, fully compliant, his e-bike with his helmet on. I keep running into Leroy all over town, child. He be scooting around on that little scooter, and fully compliant with his hat. And he even, here's the funny part. I was in traffic trying to get home, and he passed me. And I think at first he didn't see me till the very last minute. So I like waved at him. And because he's now fully compliant, he has a little horn, he was able to toot, on his e-bike. Oh my God, I loved it. I'm like, yes, you go on through, brother Leroy. Abby says, Marshall, we need more firewood for the 9:30 caboose. Here's the thing, right? I'm not going to put any more energy into Carrie. You guys know that your energy is really, really important in life. And you have to know what is worth your energy and what isn't worth your energy. And unfortunately for Carrie, she is not worth my energy. The victims who are reaching out to me left, right, and center of Nydia Rufo Scott, they are worth my energy. Trying to help, you know, WRC and CBC get some of these people, that's worth my energy. YouTuber says Carrie needs to have several seats. She lives in constant denial and delusion about who she is at her core. Anyone who is always a victim is usually always a liar. Wow. Wow, that's deep. Anyone who's always a victim is usually always a liar. Whoa, YouTuber 345. That's a deep statement. Honey child. But this is the only message I can give her, honey child.
me, don't play with me. God on my side, you can't pray on me. Pray on me. Devil tried, but he can't take from me. Take from me. I'm too covered. You can't aim at me. Aim at me.
Hallelujah.
Boy, don't play with me. Don't play with me. You kept me alive. Don't play with me. Don't.
This is like my theme song for 2026. I swear. I love it. And the little babies are so cute, especially this one. You know what I love about her? The little chubbiness. You know, the little chubby in the legs, little chubby in the arms. She's like, listen, don't play with me. And I'm eating good at the same time. Ay, ay, ay. Hallelujah. Amen. Good morning, Miss Mary. Miss Mary says, love your K-Man style, Sandy. Aw, I appreciate it. Mitzi's in the house. Oh, not Mitzi. Mish Tyler. Oh, no. Mish, you can't be sending people no friend requests that you don't know, honey child. That sounds like you're a scammer. Tell me she gonna send Miss Sue a friend request. Would you mind sending me a friend request? Yes, Miss Sue would mind. We protect our people here. That sounds very scamish. So Mish Tyler, unfortunately, we have to block you this morning too, because scammers get blocked. Yeah, okay. Block user. And Miss Sue, don't be sending nobody no friend requests, honey child. She's trying to scam you. You must have looked naive to her. Salah Barahma, good morning to you. She needs to call in on publicly apologize to everyone, says Island Pearl. You know, oh, Sarah says Facebook is fuzzy. Is it? Hold on, Sarah. Let me just have a quick looky. Quick look-see. Oh, guess what? I opened my thing. The first thing I get is Stephen Bartlett saying that he proposed to Melanie in Morocco and she said yes. When was that? When did he propose to his girlfriend? Oh, mess with him. I like how Stephen shares, you know, elements of his life on his social media. Oh, Facebook doesn't look fuzzy to me. As a matter of fact, it's so crystal clear I can see my flyaways here. I haven't slicked back my hair this morning. But just refresh it, Sarah, on your side. Normally, if you refresh it on your side, you are good to go, honey. Yeah, look at that crazy hair this morning. I'm going to brush it better when I'm done. Thank you, plain and straight. Good morning, Miss Miriam. Anna says this is the son of Miss Down beside her. Oh, sorry. This is the son of Miss Dawn beside her. Which Miss Dawn? Miss Dawn. Okay, I know a lot of Dawns, so you might have to be a little bit more specific than that. Faith and Hope is in the house. This person on WhatsApp says, I love when the tea be boiling over and it's not even 8 a.m. yet. Time check, 6:56. Absolutely love your theme song. Thank you so much. You know what is so funny? You know, my daughter does not obviously watch the show. So yesterday I was in my car and I was watching YouTube. Yes, I have a box that allows me to watch TV. Sometimes in the drive time, I want to watch Sabrina. That way I can get to catch some of her show. Or I'll be giving my daughter multiplication work. Watch a multiplication video on YouTube. So it helps to pass the time, especially when you're stuck in traffic and you're either coming into the Eastern District, which is the one that I have to do, or the other one when you're going out. So anyway, I said it came up on my YouTube thing, my own show. And of course, I don't watch my own show, you know, but I said, oh, look, Mom's show. And I started watching it. She didn't even know that I had a theme song. She's like, oh, wow, this is kind of cool, Mom. She's 9. And she was like into it. She's like, this song is really catchy. And then in the middle of me and her listening to the theme song, Marlon called. We're like, Dad, we're busy listening to Mom's theme song. What do you want? Oh my goodness. Morning, Shaka Zulu. Greg says Carrie has been given more chances than are typically allowed for others. Point. True. At some point, a line needs to be drawn and upheld. That is true. God knows. I was very, very, because I know that she can take things hard and be up in her feelings. But Greg, there's only so many times. And the funny thing is, like I said, I'm a person who, it's not that I don't give second and third chances, but you got to come good. Because again, another video I was watching this weekend that said people might have an explanation for their behavior as to why they did what they did. But what you really need to focus on is the fact that they did it. And I was like, that is deep. So yes, they're going to explain to you. If I find that clip too, I'll share it with you guys. I think I sent it to Mel. Mel, let me see if I sent you this clip. It's in the show. Yeah, but they're going to, they're going to give you an excuse as to why they did something. And you can listen to that excuse and you might even accept it. But it's not the why. It's the fact that they did it to begin with that you need to be concerned about. And I was like, yes, right? What drove them to the point where they did it? It may not even matter, but they did it. So pay very close attention to that, because that in and of itself probably says all you need to know, because excuses are a dime a dozen, but they did it anyway. Right, Greg? KK says she needs to stay blocked or whatever you have her on now. The back and forth with her is ridiculous. A real delusional person she is. Irvlin Buenos Dias. Good morning, darling. Anthony says, Sandy, you sure these people are victims of the Scott gang, or they cooperating defendants? Cry foul when the empire crashes. Well, we're going to get to that, Bobo. Don't worry, Anthony. We're going to get to that. Blissful. Good morning. Blissful Powell. Good morning to you. You're welcome, Sarah. Miss Ethel's in the house. She says, blessings to all. Shaka says, I'm assuming Miss Dawn is in regards to Philippa dating her boss, son, or partner's son. Oh, that Miss Dawn? Oh, the one that he's like 14 or something now? That Dawn? Okay. Well, my apologies to you, young man. The information was a little bit off. It's not Miss Dawn's son. It was Miss Dawn's wife's son. So as you continue to live your young life, you will realize that people do make mistakes. We sincerely apologize. The person was off slightly, but to you, obviously, we apologize. Absolutely. Right? We did not mean to put you in any bad light. And just to be clear, we also have a saying in Cayman. I guess you'd be half Caymanian since you're Miss Dawn's son. I don't know who your father is, so I can't say if you're full Caymanian, but I'm just saying. You'll get used to saying that if it don't go so, it go close to so. So in other words, the tipster was very, very close, but yes, Miss Dawn doesn't have an adult son. It's her wife's adult son. Don't go so, it close to so. It was real close to so. But welcome to the program. I'm not so sure this is a program I would let a 12-year-old listen to. But I guess if your mama okay with it, that's on you. Hello from Indonesia. Good morning, Robert Tatum. Good morning, my dear, says King Robbie, friend Sandy, and the people of the beautiful Cayman Islands. Morning, King Robbie. Indonesia in the house this morning. So good to see you. It's night there in Indonesia. Wow. Jeff Greta says good morning. Guevara says good morning to everyone in Grand Cayman. Good morning, Jeff. And we also have Gina Berry in the house. Someone says, this is a fair point. Well, y'all be thinking, y'all be too smart for me. This person says, well, technically, it would be considered Dawn's stepson. Dun, dun, dun. You are correct. It would be Dawn's stepson. So maybe even Dawn considered him a son. Because normally when you marry somebody, you accept and take their children on as your own. That's a kaboom. I'm just saying, it's not her biological son, but it's certainly her stepson. Sandra, you have the same clock as Carrie. Laughing aloud, you just said time check is 6:56, so you're an hour behind. Oh God, no. The clock was wrong. The clock is right. My mouth is what's wrong. Many people live by the motto, it's easier to ask for forgiveness than permission. Oh, no, not around here. You better ask for permission first. No, my clock is right. Time check. Let me get it right this time. 8:03 a.m. Dun dun. And don't be looking at the clock behind me because you can't see it right now. But let me, oh, it's more that way. That says 11:40. And I don't know if that's AM or PM or what. Well, that's Marlon's clock back there. That one's always wrong. Some of you, when you see, you'd be like, can you tell Marlon to fix his clock, please? What a hot mess. Okay. I do want to read a few statements this morning from victims. By the way, we have video footage of some burglaries. 5 burglaries happened in one night. What? Okay. This is weird. Andrew Bodden, I'm confused. So he's the guy who was driving that Jeep or SUV. It was a Jeep, leaving Casanovas and ran right through the people them exit. We call those things the exit barrier. Now he's saying, please ask them to send me a copy of the video from 5:45 and 6 p.m. of me entering the car park at the same spot. Why do you need a video of you entering the car park when it's obvious that you ran through the thing? Sometimes y'all just need to fall on your sword and accept responsibility. I'm confused. I don't know. No, sir. Oh my God. I can't even. Okay. We'll send it to the property manager, but I kind of think it's obvious that it was you that ran through the thing. That's why you reached out. So, and you have a customs license plate. There was like zero question that it was actually you. So why do you need the video? I'm confused. Some of y'all naive, Zena. All right, when we get to the guys breaking in, I'll show you some additional footage with them. Lord have mercy. Someone said he should have just exited on the other side, which does not have an arm. I was wondering why he didn't do that. And is it because some of them have where you can't go through the wrong way because it has the things that will like shred your tires? I'm not sure if that building has it or not. But anyway, yeah, that's pretty wild. Anywho, let's move on. So good morning, Miss Gina. Good morning, Miss Emma. So we have received a number of victims now who have come forward and who are sharing their experiences with Lamardo and his wife. So I was able to, I know we left the show yesterday where I was trying to get the actual details on the registered company, and I do have that. So give me 1 second. Let me read this one quickly. Good morning, Miss Sandy. I and a number of persons that I spoke to would like to weigh in on the poll of Miss Carrie Whitaker's ban, but not on a WhatsApp group. Would it have been inclusive if the poll was placed on social media page as other posts were where we may have been able to vote? I know that you have sufficient enough to make a decision, but wondering what the real numbers may have been. Yeah, it's not all that deep. I'm going to be honest with you. It really isn't that deep, right? It's not even something that I really needed to do a poll on because I think the decision was really already made. It was more out of curiosity that I did the poll. The poll isn't going to sway me one way or the other because by law, I have a legal responsibility. And because I have a legal responsibility now, this is where it's quite a serious matter. I cannot allow people who are such a loose cannon to continue to call into this show because it jeopardizes this show. And I have worked too hard. Listen to me very, very carefully, folks. I have worked too hard for over 5 years. What is this now? 6, 7, 8 years that we're going into the Cold Hard Truth in the Mornings as a daily show. We started in 2020. So this is year 6, I think, this month or next month. No, TD. I have worked too hard to let anybody, especially Carrie, but anybody come and mess this up. We're the number one show and we got to follow the rules, right? Off-Reg has rules and Stingray Media has rules. And so on the one hand, I was curious to see what people thought, but on the other hand, I don't really even care. If you really want, it's a curiosity more than I'm all that, like I need to get such accurate numbers. I don't need any more accurate numbers, right? If 70% said, yep, time for her to go, that's fine. It's interesting. It's just taking the pulse of the community. And that's all that matters. It's not really anything that we gotta have a blind double, whatever. It's just ridiculous. Oh, thank you. Somebody actually sent me the picture, to answer my question about whether or not this parking lot has what do you call those spikes? I think they're just called spikes. And the good news is this parking lot does not have any spikes. So in fact, he could have gone through the other way without breaking the see here? No spikes. I mean, you just a jackass. Jackass of the day goes to you, Bobo. No spikes, and you instead break the people thing, and now you have the audacity to be asking about if you can get the footage of when you entered. Come now. Come. Sure. Just take responsibility and pay for it. It can't be that much money. If you can run your Jeep through it. I'm curious to know whether his Jeep got damaged. You must have been drinking, boy. What the hell? Just accept responsibility and pay for it. That is what I would recommend. Don't make this a bigger deal than it has to be, because then you're going to be forcing me to be posting this and talking about you even more. What is wrong with you all? Sometimes we do stupid things. And when you do stupid things, you know what you do? You just said, oops, one too many to drink. I was being stupid. Let me just, pay for it. The guy was like, I just want to find him. He could have called the police because that's actually criminal damage. Another person says, but the thing is, the building has an exit on the east side, a whole separate exit to the one that you're showing, and he has 2 separate exits and 1 entrance. So you had choices, right? This person says, good morning. OMG, can we get off of Carrie now? WTF is with people. She has her own live if people want to listen to her crazy rants. Lord have mercy. Alfred, good morning, darling. How are you? Kayla's biggest crook. Who's Kayla? Oh gosh. Kayla's biggest crook and still have her company running and doesn't pay insurance, but still collect from the guy's pay. Kayla? Who's Kayla? I'm confused, heaven bless. Okay, you gotta help me out here. Carla is in the house. We have Jeff and Carla with the same last name. Are the two of you related? Guevara? And are you related to Michelle, the Filipina? Good morning, Alfred. Alfred says, you don't have to justify yourself, Sandra. At the end of the day, it's your show. Yes, because I'm one of the first people to listen to your show, says Miss Sue. Good morning, Lavana. Alfred goes on to say, if you don't want someone on your show, they can get their own show. Let them start their own show on the radio, and when they curse, they'll know what it is. I tell you what, that ain't happening. Good morning, Andrew. Let's jump to the real news, says KK. Yes, let's get it. Kayla's the one to do the promotions, the Rick Ross concert. Oh my God. Her again? What is going on with her now? All right, let's get back to the Filipinas first, because, oh my God, we got so many crooks around here. It's not even funny. Okay, one crook at a time. So the one that we have been highlighting this week is Lamardo, who is the Caymanian spouse and the Caymanian partner, and his wife, Nydia, what the hell her name is again? Nydia, hold on, let me get you her name now. I need to get this straight, honey chill. Nydia. Nydia. Yes. All right. And we actually have a very long and lengthy letter from one of their victims that we've published. So please, if you've not had a chance to read it, I'm going to read it to you this morning. So she is Nydia Rufo Scott. Oh, there's a typo in this. Hold on. Let me fix the typo. Rufo, R-U-F-O. Nydia Rufo Scott is her name. So she's married to Lamardo Scott, who is from Cayman Brac. He just bought a bar, we understand, there in Cayman Brac. So that'll be another avenue for them to continue running the prostitution ring that they are alleged to be running. Such standards here in the Cayman Islands. There's a reason why they have 9 business licenses, and also why they are getting another bar. And there's a really good connection here with the bar business, I think, that you guys need to pay attention to. So let me show you the evidence of what we have collected. So I mentioned 9 business licenses. Here they are. And this is 8 of the 9. So these are the ones that are under the name of Real Deal Ltd. Then there's the LSJ Recruitment, which is in his name, trading as. Okay. Now, they have all these businesses, Real Deal Incorporated, and here's the incorporation documentation. Real Deal Limited. It was formed in 2022. Resident company. Yep, this is all publicly available information. And they have this listed as 38 Whisper Court. Remember yesterday I was saying that there's some kind of weird discrepancy here because 2 of the 8 licenses have Whisper Court listed as 38 Whisper Court. And then some have 5 Whisper Court. 3 of them, I think, or 4 have 5 Whisper Court. And then some have 5 Litigate Court, Raven Avenue. So I'm all kind of confused as to why, although they all have the same block and parcel number, it is a different physical address. Because quite frankly, even if they were, what do you call it? Even if they were like a different apartment, right? Like say this is an apartment complex, right? 5 Whisper Court, 38 Whisper Court. I mean, it'd be a different unit number. So it's like weird. It doesn't make any sense. But even apartments that are in the same complex have a different block and parcel number. So this immediately, when I saw this, raised a red flag for me. I don't know why this hasn't raised a red flag for the people who are actually issuing the business licenses. Something is wrong there. So anyway, the 2 of them have set up Real Deal Limited here from 2022, Lamardo Scott and Nydia Rufo Scott. So they are both equal. When it says initial subscriber, that means that they're both shareholders in the company. So they are the only shareholders, right? They started this business in September or August rather of 2022. Now, his, give me 1 second. Let me just look up this other one. His recruitment company, we have discovered, thank you so much to the brave Filipino people. And this is where I want to talk about this now, is some of you asked the question, are they really victims or are they just crying foul to pretend now to be a victim? Well, here's the thing. Sometimes, yes, victims are somewhat participants, but the system understands that they are being taken advantage of in the worst kind of way. Yes, they want to come to Cayman and they are paying some kind of fee to get here. There's an argument, does that really make them a victim? Are they really illegal? But I can tell you that most of them have no clue what they're actually coming into, right? They're being told, oh, this is a recruitment fee. We will get you a job. We will place you in a job and all this sort of stuff. And that's actually not what's happening. They come here for 3 months and they're like on their own. And then they're being encouraged into prostitution and all these other illegal activities. So I don't think they signed up for any of that stuff, right? So yes, the law is going to see them as a victim. And so I want to make this very, very clear. If you're listening to the show this morning and you are a victim of Lamardo and Nydia Scott, please reach out. The authorities want your cooperation. Now, I say this, and I also am going to say I'm disappointed in the authorities because I don't know what kind of investigation they be doing, honey child. Because allegedly, my sources say that they've been looking into Lamardo and Nydia for years. And how is it that you can't file any charges, that you can't deal with people? Cayman is too slack. Huh? Our systems are too slack. We have got to do better. Because here's a shocker. Several people have now confirmed that in her home country of the Philippines, her business there has been prohibited. Her recruitment agency has been prohibited because of what she is engaging in. Can you imagine? We want to sit down and talk about the Philippines as a third world country. I mean, whatever. But guess what? At least they have the good common sense to recognize when a business is scamming people and to put a stop to it. So I want to thank the individuals who brought this to our attention, because it's our own Filipinos who have informed us that their equivalent of the FBI, it's called like the EBI or something, but their equivalent of the FBI, many of you may have seen this post, have basically told her that she cannot do any business in the Philippines. It changed its name from LJS Recruitment to Real Deal Manpower. And so hopefully the authorities in the Philippines are paying attention that, she's probably going to be trying to work through relatives or family members or whatever in order to continue her shenanigans of, let me just see here, of trying to defraud people. We have already reached out to the Filipino agencies because we know that they take the Commission on Filipinos Overseas, that they take this matter very, very seriously. And we know also that a contingent of Filipino government officials are coming here later on. Is it next week? And I can assure you that we fully intend to attend this event and to let them know what Nydia has been up to. And there are other Filipinos as well. I'm making myself as patently cleared as I possibly can. If you are a wrongdoer in this country, regardless of where you're from, you will be held accountable. You do not get to come to the Cayman Islands and destroy this country, human traffic others, push them into prostitution and all of this other behavior and get away with it. Now, there might be some people who are more willing participants than others. So, for example, we know that, what's her name there? Michelle. Michelle is a little bit different, right? She doesn't have any issue working for money, but like using her body for money. Not everybody wants that type of life for them. So that's why, she's with, what's his name? Oh God, what the hell's his name again? DJ Ryan Kirk Muhammad. She's with him, and I guess she's accepted her plight in life that she doesn't have any other real skills. So, she's happy to trick herself out. I mean, it is illegal if you're a willing participant. Huh? And yeah, she's a willing participant. Now, in some countries, I'm going to show you guys a video here about women in the Philippines, right? They see foreign men, especially foreign white men, as or half white, because Ryan would not be considered a white man. But anyway, they see this as a step up in life to be with a foreign white man. Looks like these days they'll take pretty much anything that they get, even the crackheads from Dog City. They seem to be accepting of them. And they sell, it's like a cultural thing. And I'm not trying to insult anybody, but you guys, if you're from the Philippines, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Young girls, even if you watch 90 Day Fiance, you'll be very aware. A lot of these young girls are all too happy to marry sometimes men old enough to be their grandfathers in order to try to secure a better way of life for themselves. You know, it's disgusting in my personal opinion, but that is how they try to elevate their status in life. And of course, the old men, they listen, they're also taking advantage of them, huh? So I'm going to show you guys some footage here that is from Pampanga, Philippines, from a page. Says, what do you think of the age gap relationships in the Philippines? Because apparently it is extremely prevalent. But where it is extremely prevalent is with the foreigners. Because once again, they see them. That's like you've arrived once you have a foreigner with a couple dollars in their bank account. You know, the sad thing is, so many of these so-called foreigners are not even, they don't really have they don't have a whole lot of money. But, you know, yeah, it's nasty. You know, they just use these guys. Here's one. Should men travel to the Philippines to meet a wife? So it's big business in the Philippines, especially, I mean, not just the rural areas, but even in the city. Some of them like the lady boys, like they're all into it. You guys should follow this page because this page has quite a bit of, let me see here. This page has quite a bit of information, and it looks like it's a page out of the Philippines on what is going on there with these types of relationships of convenience. Listen, I guess I'm not here to necessarily judge it, but it's just a sad indictment on poverty around the world that people feel like they have to, let me just show you guys this video, that they have to sell themselves and compromise themselves. See some videos here in order to make it in life, right? So you see the woman here, you know, with these older men. Look at how old that man is compared to her. Look at them, right? Look, I mean, my God. Yeah. You know, but this is a life, this is a lifestyle. So here's another one. Says, what do you think, this was yesterday, of the age gap relationships in the Philippines? Poor things. But is it a choice? Do they have choices? I always say, of course you have a choice, even when you're poor. You don't have to sell your body for money. But, you know, they want to dress like this. They want to be able to have clothes and money. And, of course, these mostly American, but I guess probably some European men as well, they absolutely love it. Now, Cayman is in the mix because we have several Caymanians. Some of them work for CBC. And they're also in the mix and absolutely loving this, where they can go to these poor countries and make themselves available to these women who, you know, are desperate. I mean, it's so sad. I do feel a way about it because I see these women as growing up in very impoverished situations and willing to do anything. I mean, look at some of these men. You know, they don't even look good. But they got American dollars. They have foreign dollars, right? They're old. They're out of shape. They don't look like they can walk hardly. And yet, there you go. That's what's happening there. And they, you know, it's unfortunate, but yeah, they are being used. I had a Caymanian guy yesterday who mentioned that, I'll read his story because his story is kind of low key interesting as well. And, you know, they're all coming out of the woodworks now, honey chia. It's just really, really something else. So a lot of these men are into this. Like I said, it is partly, I think for these men, it is a controlling situation. Apparently, men in general enjoy, thank you, enjoy being sugar daddies, and they enjoy controlling people. And they see a woman is, as, you know, threatening, who has a brain of her own, who has a mind of her own, and who has her own money. Because you don't have to put up with nothing from these men, right? When you're an independent woman and you can do your own thing. The video that kicked us off, where Ryan was obviously mistreating and talking down to Michelle, I can tell you that no man would never have embarrassed me like that in public. And I would still be in a relationship with him. He might do it, but there would be no further relationship. You see her? She gets on the radio, which, by the way, Palm Heights, let me pull you into the conversation for a quick minute, because apparently when she called into the show the other day, did you guys know she was actually on her job at Palm Heights? So instead of focusing on her work at Palm Heights, she has time to call in on the show and be rude to me. Dart, sort her out as quickly as you can. Okay? Somebody said if we're not going to talk about her, we talking about her. We are already talking about her. We've talked about her for 2 days. So this is a thing in the Philippines. The Philippines is not the only country. There are a number of Asian countries that are known for having women who, you know, are into the call girl business. And the foreign men tend to pay more money, I suppose. That is what it is that they're looking for. All very, very sad. But Michelle, aka the call girl, Michelle, you guys are picking up on these coding. You're like, I want to talk about CBC Michelle. I want to talk about call girl Michelle. So call girl Michelle is in this country because of these two people. And one of these people is a Caymanian. He is the business owner. So when we're doing, you know, a tracing back of how all of this has come to fruition, it seems to me that who we need to hold accountable are the people who are bringing them into this country. I can't control what happens in the Philippines. I look at it and it's low-key interesting and we can talk about those things, but I have no control over that. What we need to control is our own borders and what is happening in this country right here. Over 600, almost 700 people on the live stream. Thank you guys so much this morning. And there's no Carrie calling in, so we can't give her credit. So this is where my energy has to be focused. How is it that their business gets shut down, their recruitment business gets shut down in the Philippines, but our government officials, our government agencies seem to be so impotent that they cannot stop individuals who are human trafficking? This is human trafficking. Let's read the first of several letters here today. Okay? This one says, and this victim, I want to thank her for coming forward and for sharing her story. She says, I never imagined that my dream of a better life would become a nightmare. I was recruited from the Philippines by a couple, Lamardo Scott and his Filipino wife, Nydia Rufo Scott, who promised honest work, good pay, and a chance to support my family back home. They presented themselves as successful business owners who were helping desperate people like me escape poverty. I trusted them. People in my country trusted them too. Some even sold their land, borrowed from relatives, or took out bank loans just to pay the fees to come to the Cayman Islands. From the moment I arrived on the island, the truth started to show. I was told very clearly that I was not allowed to be in a relationship because my job was to entertain customers, not build my own life. Listen carefully, folks. If guests wanted us to sing, we had to sing. If they wanted us to sit beside them, we had to sit. We were expected to be friendly, flirty, and always available. It was made clear that our looks were part of the product they were selling. The husband would introduce me to men and suggest that I, in quotations, date someone with money. Let me pause there for a second. Lamardo, really? Really? You think that is why Nydia Rufo Scott obviously got with you then? You know what's going on here. Not that you had no pile of money, but I guess you got more money than you have sense. So here we are. There now, he as a man, as a Caymanian in this situation, knows what they're here for, knows what's going on. This is the very definition of prostitution and trafficking, right? The Shemas date someone with money. He told me not to gain weight. Come on, Lamardo. Really? To stay pretty. Well, if you're Michelle, she didn't stay pretty. She glammed up because she wasn't pretty to begin with. She still isn't pretty. She's not a natural beauty. But boy, what a good couple dollars can do for you. Good contouring, good makeup, and some good hair extensions. Let me continue. To stay pretty, so I could attract some customers. Sometimes he would even ask customers what they thought about my body, laughing like it was a joke, while I sat there feeling humiliated. I cannot explain how small and dirty that made me feel. Like I was no longer a person, just something to be inspected and discussed. We were constantly reminded that complaints were not allowed. If a customer harassed us, we were expected to smile and endure it. When anyone tried to speak up, the response from his wife was simple, then leave. But how can we just leave? We were in a foreign island with debts back home and no savings. They knew we were trapped. That is exactly how they designed it. The working conditions were exhausting. We worked close to 12 hours a day, often with little or no proper day off. The salary was far below what we had been promised before we left home, barely enough to survive once you counted rent, food, and the money we were expected to send back to our families. We were even instructed to lie about how much money we were being paid if anyone asked, especially certain people connected to the business. Even our wages came with a script. And I'm going to amend this because I think it's important to include in this. We were very careful how what she said was worded because we are trying to protect her, because even now she is fearful of her life from this couple and their connections in the Philippines, Nydia. So what she did say, though, is they were being paid $800 CI a month. I'm going to say that again. They were being paid $800 CI per month. And they were told to lie to anyone who asked about their salary. Okay, hold on. Particularly Dawn. This is now at Vine and Tap that I'm talking about. Particularly if Dawn asked to tell Dawn that they're making $1,000 per month. This is interesting. I'm curious if Dawn really has, other than saying that it wasn't her biological son involved in all of this, I am curious to see, whether or not she has anything to say about this, because this was her business. And also, this is her as someone who is just running as a member of parliament, right? Your business has now been called into disrepute because you were allowing Filipinos to sublet part of your space, and they were there prostituting people and doing the most. How is it that you don't know what was happening right under your noses? Come on. I myself have to question how that's possible. Right? Okay. You might not have known all the details and everything, but was it not obvious? Just like it was obvious when she moved from Vine and Tap and moved over to Sandbar. The Sandbar owners and managers, it became very obvious to them pretty quickly what was going on, and that's why they got rid of her. Of course, they don't tell immigration this. They did not even cancel her work permit, which by law they were supposed to. They allowed her to stay here for 4 months. And in those 4 months, she was able to secure and to find employment with now Palm Heights. This is where the system, folks, is failing at multiple points. And so it has to be pointed out. exactly what is happening here. Right? So Dawn slipped up, apparently, wasn't paying sufficient attention or ignoring a lot of red flags. Right? She's trying to get with Michelle, is trying to get with your stepson and other men working in the bar. All of these, you saw it. You got rid of her because she was with your stepson and you didn't like that vibe. Surely you saw what else what was going on with. You're actually a very intelligent, smart person. I would find it very hard to believe that it was not obvious to you what was actually happening and what Nydia Rufo Scott and her Caymanian husband, Lamardo Scott, were actually up to. Then you let her go. You say nothing to WORC about why you let her go. Okay? Over 800 people now listening to the live stream. Thank you guys so much. You're amazing. You don't say anything about why you let her go. She goes to Sandbar. They don't know then what they're hiring. Right? Then it doesn't take them long to figure out what is really on the take, what's really going on. And then on top of that, right? They let her go. They equally slip up, don't notify immigration that they're actually letting her go. Let me say this. When you're here on a work permit and someone cancels your work permit, that is the equivalent of you being terminated from your job. How is it that you could be terminated from your job multiple times as a foreigner here on a work permit and you continue to get work permits in this country? That's the question that I want answered here today. WORC, please tell me what on earth is going on. You have a person, and this is why the government wants to change this job hopping business, who has effectively been fired from every single job that she's had. Fraudulent people brought her in on a temporary work permit. Then she's at Dawn's place, work permit under Vine and Tap. Vine and Tap fires her. Sandbar fires her. And you don't go, why does this girl keep getting fired? Something not adding up. Good morning, caller.
I'm just getting in on the last bit you said, but yes, you are very correct. It's our own people in Cayman that's bringing the Filipinos, the Nepalese, everybody cheap, very cheap in Cayman. And then they work in the labor very cheap. They're going off $4 or $5 an hour. Mm-hmm. And then they fear for their life. They can't report nothing to say about this agency or this employment situation. You're running these people very cheap, and then you hold them over their head about, oh, I can send you back home, waving their work permit out above their head, and then on top of that, you got to pay the person that's holding your work permit extra money, like it's a rental.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And I'm like, and then they wonder why they can't go back home. You're harboring people here in Cayman. Stop harboring them. Stop treating them like they're slaves.
And forcing them into prostitution.
And then forcing them. And then when you get forced into prostitution, and then when your company get cracked down, then you want to point finger to this one and that one, this one.
So sad.
Yeah, it's very sad.
Mm-hmm.
And then you see the girls, them getting kicked out on the road and everything because they can't stable a job.
All right, my dear. Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm. You're welcome.
Yeah, I mean, without a doubt, this is a very egregious situation. Let me just take a quick break. I just need to, my sinuses are a little bit irritated this morning. Just going to grab myself some tissue. So let's hear from some of the sponsors that make our shows possible.
Recover Personal Injury Attorneys, helping injured people get what they deserve. Did you know that insurance companies have lawyers that represent their interests? Before signing and accepting any settlement, know your rights. Call us today for a free consultation at 924-9999. That's 924-9999. Recover. Your personal injury attorneys are on standby to assist.
All righty. Thank you so much. Let's read some comments and then we're going to continue to, actually, let me continue reading the letter and then I'm going to get to your comments. I don't want to break up the letter too much. Okay. Because then I'll totally forget. where we left off even. All right. So one momento, por favor. All right, here we go. So the person goes on and says, they knew that we were trapped. This is exactly how they designed it. Oh, I was 2 paragraphs down. Over time, so that they paid us only $800 a month, but instructed us to tell anyone who asked, especially people connected to the authorities or other business owners, that our salary was $1,000. So even our pay came with a lie attached. Over time, I realized that this was not just a bad employer. This was a system. The same people who recruited me were bringing in more and more workers from the Philippines and Nepal through different business names and agencies. Back home, the authorities had already canceled their permit under one name, but they simply changed the name and carried on recruiting under another name. So let me now let you know what we do know. And again, I invite the authorities. If I'm able to get this level of information, I don't understand. My apologies. What is wrong with CBC and WORC where they can't be doing adequate investigations to find out what is actually going on here? But I have been reliably informed that the name of the previous business was the same LSJ. And then once the Philippines government got a hold of them and saw what they were doing, they quickly changed the name to Real Deal Manpower. So if anyone is listening from the authorities in the Philippines, please let them know that this woman, Nydia, has not stopped her shenanigans there. She continues it, but she's doing it under a different name. And she potentially has relatives and other people on the Filipino end who are working with her. This is a big, I mean, when I tell you that this is, I'm hearing from people that she has probably brought in more work permit holders in the Philippines than anybody else. This is a big deal. This is a really, really big deal. And Cayman government should be ashamed of themselves to know that they have allowed this one woman and her whole cabal of criminals to get involved and to do this sort of thing. And she got, the stupidest husband this side of Cayman Brac involved in this as well. And he's just going along to get along because the quality of his life has been significantly improved by this woman who cares nothing about her country, who is single-handedly destroying her country. And Lamardo, shame on you. Shame on you. From one Caymanian to the next, shame on you. You need to take some serious responsibility for allowing your wife. And I know everyone is, people are like, oh, well, he can't control what someone. No, he is the business owner. The business is in his name. He's the Caymanian, right? LSJ Recruitment is in his name. All the other businesses under Real Deal Limited, it's him as the Caymanian partner, and then she was added on it as equal partners. So you cannot tell me that as the Caymanian, that he does not know what's going on and he is not allowing this to happen. Of course he is. Let's go to the phone calls. Good morning, caller. Welcome to the program.
Good morning, Sandy.
Good morning.
Sorry, excuse me. You and I suffering from whatever that.
Yeah, yeah.
But I was just listening to you, and I think
sorry, you have a little bit of background noise. I don't know if it's wind or what that is.
Is it better?
Yes, much better.
Sorry about that.
Yeah.
It was the car. It's really a crying shame that these types of things are really happening in such a small jurisdiction. But you know what is more embarrassing and more shameful is that it has to come from platforms like yours, that the government, what I'm saying is, why is it that Sandra has 17 business licenses, 99 work permit holders, and I have experienced it, not personally, but very close to me. Persons running legitimate businesses who put in a work permit for, in this instance, let's say, excuse me, in construction. My word, they have to prove and then some that it is a legitimate job that they're seeking that work permit for. And by way of ensuring that, you know, you have to provide proof of the contract, you got to get a letter from the person that you have the contract for. Where are the checks and balances? Again, work permits move from a board process to an administrative process. But what happened to when people actually physically went out to ensure that Sandra, who is working at ABC Liquors, is actually working at ABC Liquors? This is akin to human trafficking. This is despicable, and it's happening on our shores. And God forbid if the European Court of Human Rights get involved. What is that going to do for us? What is that going to look like for us? When we know that these types of things and offenses are occurring within our borders, we are flagrantly breaching the law, allowing people to breach the law, and infringing on other person's human rights.
Yep.
Dude, I don't think that we truly understand. We definitely don't appreciate how the larger impact.
Yep.
The larger impact of this, and while some people might say, well, everybody wants to make a living. Well, who doesn't want to make a living? There are Caymanians there who want to make a living. Find those persons. If you do have legitimate work, find those persons. There are a lot of Caymanians who are actually in need of jobs right now. But I'm sorry, I blame those worthless, no good farts for what they're doing. But we cannot wholly lay or assign blame to them. We have to attribute it to the government. There is a failure of due diligence on their part, especially in these instances. Now it has come to light on your platform, and I'm sure if you got a hold of it, other persons know about it. We know in this particular case, at least one employer failed to cancel the work permit. They should have to demonstrate that that person was, in fact, actually working with them for the 4 months. And if they cannot do it, they should be fined.
Yep.
They should be penalized. I am so sick and tired of hearing that, oh, well, if we lay down the law, then we're going to be impacting Caymanian businesses. Well, news flash for the entire public. No foreigner outside of an LCCL can set up a business here in the Cayman Islands. So these are all Caymanian businesses, and Caymanians need to do better.
Exactly.
They need to do better.
Exactly.
They need to set the example. They need to stop, but foreigners come here taking their jobs. No, you need to stop bringing foreigners here to take Caymanian jobs.
Exactly.
You need to ensure that if you are putting in for a work permit, that it is a legitimate work permit. You need to ensure that you are paying pensions. You need to ensure that those persons' insurances are being paid and that you are meeting the minimum wage requirement. My God, this just feels like a open faucet kind of thing. You turn it in, they run in and they run out. I mean, I'm sorry. If Sandra has 17 businesses, 99 work permits, and every 3 months she's out with one,
Something is wrong.
Somebody has to look in and say, oh, why is it she can't keep an employee?
Exactly.
Why is it? But then you have legitimate businesses. Legitimate businesses. I see it every day. Legitimate businesses where in one instance, I know a business owner who operates a small business, had one employee, applied for a second employee and was told that the person that she was trying to recruit, she couldn't recruit that person because they were deemed to be, quote unquote, overqualified for the role that he had applied for because they had a few certificates. You understand what I'm saying? But then we have these two, I don't even know what to call them, worthless humans that are out there with. Why does one person need 17 business licenses?
Let me tell you something. Caller. Because this is a point, right, that is flabbergasting. Do you know what it takes to even run one or two businesses? Much less 9 businesses?
No. Well, no, what it takes to run one legitimate
right.
business.
Yes.
Legitimate business.
That's
you
right.
understand?
Yeah.
What I'm saying is, anybody can apply as long as you have as long as you're Caymanian or have Caymanian status. I can tell you right now, I know of businesses operating in my community by foreign nationals where they're paying a Caymanian $200 a week to operate these businesses. And again, we can beat our chest into the ground all day, every day. But until we stop allowing these types of things to happen by our hand, they're going to continue. They're going to continue. And we are going to be the ones that they say, foreigners taking our jobs. Foreigners taking our jobs.
Yeah.
No, we are allowing these abuses to happen.
Yeah.
We are the ones promulgating it. We are the ones that are going out there and making ourselves available. And then we want work to do something. Again, I am not here suggesting that work is faultless in this instance. Sorry.
Definitely not.
I am sorry.
Definitely not. And this is where now you have to ask yourself, between work, DCI, and CBC, how on earth are they communicating with each other? Because obviously, even with, as we has demonstrated, all of the different block and parcel numbers and different addresses, something not adding up there. CBC, who that would be now? DCI not catching that, right? And is that purposely being done in order to defraud WORC as well as
Again, but what I'm saying is, I think those departments are more staffed than they have ever been historically, and they continue to do less with more. They continue to do less work with more people. What is going on? What is going on? What happened to the Friday roundup? What happened to the White Powder Wagon? What happened to it? But then again, you have legitimate Caymanian businesses out there conducting business legitimately are being plagued by work and
That's
DCI with astronomical fees, or they want to know where your mother navel string buried. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And then you have worthless farts like these two allowed, and nobody questions it. Why does Sandra have 17? Again, why does Sandra have 17 business licenses?
Yeah.
How many beauty salons can Sandra have?
Exactly.
When do we pull the plug and say, my God, do we really need 50,000 beauty salons in Cayman? Do we really need 7,920 mobile car washes? What's going on? There's only so many cars. There's only so many cars. My God, we must have one car wash for every car.
And you know, even if the government, we do have another call I see trying to get in, but even if the government is not in the business of saying, you know, we're going to help you be successful, we've got too many of this type of business, there are minute details here that clearly have been missed that lead one to believe that this is a straight up fraudulent situation. They have a business license for every.
Where is the due diligence?
Exactly.
Where is the due diligence?
Yeah.
Where is the due diligence? I'm sorry, you taking on a business license to for $75 that allows you to blatantly misuse, mistreat, and abuse people is not okay. If you have one employee for your one, your one chair salon, and you got one employee in your one car wash business, and your one, these are obvious. I mean, when I think of anti-money laundering, these should be key indicators of something not being right. Key indicators. But again, and I want to continue to say it, legitimate Caymanian businesses are being penalized and shook down because, well, they have the audacity to need 2 employees instead of 1. Instead of 1, have followed the law to the letter, have tried to recruit Caymanians, have unsuccessfully been able to do so, and can't come ahead. Yet these 2 worthless farts seem to do it with ease, with no
complete impunity.
Again, the question can't be to them. The question has to be put to the government. Whose fault does this fall on? Why isn't there an investigation into why Sandbar? What happened with Sandbar? Now we know. Look into it. Why is it that individual's term limit was changed? She surely didn't change her term limit. Why is it the person who was responsible for that made to be held to account? Why is that? There's so much things going on in this little island, and we're blaming the wrong people and not laying blame squarely at the foot that it belongs. And
Well,
we kick the can
I
down
agree.
the road, and we allow these flagrant breaches to continue to happen, to go unaddressed, and we're blaming the wrong people. But it doesn't change it, and it's not stopping it from happening. It's not stopping it from happening. I just want to ask Work DCI, whoever it is, when are you going to go out and actually do enforcement? When are enforcement? What is part of enforcement? It should be that if Sandra.
It's just crazy, caller, that I even know, for example, that Michelle's brother has a conviction in the Philippines for distributing pornography and lied on his work permit, and we still have him here in this country. And they can't find out this information?
No. They don't want to find out the information. They don't want to find it out, Sandra. They don't want to do the work that is absolutely necessary. I dare tell you that if they had to do the due diligence to bring in every person into this country that is truly necessary, there may be no one here. There may be no one here. But the reality is, what we are continuing to expose the country and its people to by unsavory characters being allowed in here simply because we refuse to do a little bit more work in terms of due diligence. We are going to hell in a handbasket, and we are going to find ourselves holding the you-know-what end of the stick.
Thank you, caller. Leave me there. I appreciate it. And, someone just said, Michael Miles said in the House of Parliament, the human trafficking is happening right here. And Juliana wanted him to apologize because it's not happening. And now we see that, in fact, Michael Miles knew exactly what he was talking about, or he was right on point. And Juliana O'Connor-Connolly, not for nothing, but let's call out some of these politicians as well, because they are also part and parcel of the problem. Now, who in Cayman Brack? Someone just told me, honey child. Somebody said, give that caller kaboom. Someone just said to me, almost 900 people now in the live stream, but someone just said to me, Sandy, lots of Brackers watching the show this morning. I'm looking at the memes. Good for them, because they know what Lamardo and this Nidia woman have been up to for so long. And the BRAC has a slightly different system in place of granting business licenses. And I can tell you, for such a small island, oh my God, there is a lot happening in Cayman Brac. Right? I am sick and tired of hearing how these Brackers are allowing people to come into their country and to take advantage. So you want me now to believe, right, that she didn't know what was going on? Everybody else in Cayman Brac seems to know what's going on, and their representatives don't have a clue? Good morning, caller.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Madam Sandra, good morning. I want to commend you on the work that you're doing.
Thank you.
I couldn't help but overheard the conversation with you and the previous caller.
Mm-hmm.
And what I'd like to add, and I hope someone from the immigration department is listening, when you get these police clearance, or what they call police records, for these individuals that are coming to the island, if they just do a due check on that with the relevant authorities back where these records are coming from, that would eliminate this problem right there and then.
I mean, that should be the bare minimum, right?
It should be.
Yeah.
But nowadays, we tend to tick a box and move on.
Ay. It's so sad. Thank you, caller.
You're welcome, ma'am. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thanks, you too. So yes, I mean, there's lots of due diligence that should be happening all over, I might add. So the fact that it isn't happening, the fact that there are questions about what is DCI doing with these licenses? They're not cross-checking anything, right? What is WORC doing with work permits? What is CBC doing with border controls? There are allegations that CBC officers are on the take. There's allegations that WORC workers are getting kickbacks from this as well. And that's why everybody's turning a blind eye. I can't prove that WRC workers are on the take. What I do know is the degree of slackness in which they are handling these work permits. I was flabbergasted. I'm disappointed. Do you guys not have a system that links people together? Real Deal Limited has 8 business licenses. Lamardo Scott and his wife, right, are the only directors and the only shareholders. Then they have LSJ Recruitment. In your system, are all of these companies not tied together as being related entities? So that you can see when people are trying to abuse the system, because this is what they do, right? They use this web of deception, but it's not particularly complicated. Where they're using different entities. Look on the screen, folks. How many people you know have the time to run multiple restaurants, because they have 2 of those licenses, a retailer, car wash, building and engineering. So they have a general maintenance company, hairdresser, beautician. They have a mobile salon and spa, right? Domestic helper business, payday lending. My God, how can you run 9 businesses? That's not what's happening here. What they're doing is they've set up all of these businesses, all of these business licenses in order to defraud the system. That is why right now, in order for you, because it's so easy, you see, it's such a shame that people take advantage of the system. Several governments ago, the government said, right, let's try to help Caymanian business owners. By taking away for small and micro businesses, let's take away the fee, the business license and fee, and then just have them pay the filing fee. Unfortunately, that has opened the floodgates in this country for scammers, people who do not have legitimate businesses, because essentially all they then have to do is pay $75. So each one of these, they're paying $75 because they're claiming that they're a micro or small business, right? They don't have to pay any other fee. And so then what happens is that is a low bar entry to get the business license. And then through getting the business license, they're then defrauding the immigration system as well. And it's absolutely ridiculous. And it has to be stopped. Now the government is seeking to curtail it because they've just changed the legislation where now if you're going to be applying for a smaller micro business, you have to show them your bank account. It's unfair because those of us who were like, you know, doing it on the up and up, now we have to turn around and give the Cayman Islands government access to our bank account details. Well, I know what I for one will not be doing that. I've already decided that when my business licenses come up for renewal, I will simply just pay the actual business license fee. Because imagine where your business and where your account's gonna be all over the place. You giving someone access to everything, all of my CNB printout, they must be crazy. I mean, it's quite a heavy ask, but it's because of people like this. We reported on this March the 5th. So now they're going to be demanding from you bank statements in order to get the micro and small business incentive program discounts. It's because of people like Lamardo and his wife. These same scammers, why this is happening. Good morning, caller.
Hello?
Yes, good morning.
Morning, Auntie Sandy. What's going on?
Morning, not bad. How are you?
Listen, I just call in. I'm sick, but I call in to ask a favor.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know much about Cayman Brac. I've only been there for like 6 hours in one day. But Cayman Brac really is a different world compared to Grand Cayman. The rules are different. Everything seems to be different in Cayman Brac. At the same time, you know, for anybody to say that a Caymanian can't have 7 licenses, 9 licenses, 12 licenses, whatever, none of us know what it takes, especially in a district like Cayman Brac and the opportunities that survive there, right? So if you feel that you're up for it, you've gone through the process of, forgive me, of applying and you've been successful in getting it, that's not their fault. And ultimately, at the end of the day, the rules have always been different in Cayman Brac for a lot of different things. So that can't be a surprise to us. The point that I'm making is there are a lot of people in Grand Cayman that own businesses, and heart of hearts, I think everybody would like to have a staff of full Caymanians or majority Caymanians. But the reality is there are more jobs available to be done than there are people willing to actually work. Qualified, trained up, hardworking, understand the concept of time management and being there and being focused on the job than it is. So our country is built off of the importation of labor and trying to basically have the vast majority of your business run or expatriates on work permits playing a key role. So I say all of that to say this because, 2 or 3 bad apples that get caught out, ultimately they aren't a reflection of me, you, or anybody else. I think they just need to have their sort of moment in the sun where they get probed by whoever the authorities are. But the people them did the right thing. They got their licenses. So now we've got somebody from the outside that is complaining about Irish traffic. Nobody can traffic you when you pay somebody to get from A to B. You choose to take a chance to leave the safety and security of your home, wherever that might be, Philippines, Nepal, Africa, Timbuktu, it don't matter. You choose to leave your home because nobody holds a gun to your head to come to the Cayman Islands. It is unfortunate that you have people that will take advantage of other people. But to say that, we're all bad or all businesses and Sandra shouldn't have 9 licenses and Johan shouldn't have 10, that's not fair to Caymanians because we have a lot of people that own far more than 10 businesses and all the rest of it. And their businesses are fully staffed by, or majority staffed by expatriates.
Well, it's more of a question of legitimacy, right? Of legitimate businesses, as the last caller pointed out. I mean, I suppose it's possible. You think about conglomerates like, I find it hard to believe to probably pick out anyone that has legitimate 9, 10, 15 businesses, but I suppose it's, oh Lord have mercy. I suppose
sorry.
I suppose it's possible. So let me think of someone like a Caymanian business owner, like a Don Seymour. Okay, he has the broadcasting license, but that covers all the broadcasting. He has, he's still involved in corporate services of some sort. So I guess there's a business license for that.
Right there's a great example, and it proves the point that you and I are in agreement that, again, you've got Caymanian business owners. You look at anybody you look at a construction company. I decided we don't have Caymanians that can do all them jobs. Or at least they don't get hired. Or we've even had a former minister and current minister.
Here's a better way to look at this, right? When you have just 2 individuals, it's not an apples to apples comparison when you're talking about someone like a Don Seymour who has a conglomerate of companies, right?
Agreed.
When you have 2 individuals who are trying to operate 9 businesses, that is where we all know that that's not happening. That's completely unrealistic.
Okay. And fine, if that's the hill you want to die on, that's fine. But I gotta give you this. You remember a couple of years ago when the current Minister of Education was, I believe, the Minister of Education before he took a 12-year sabbatical out of office? You remember the point that he made that there are many Caymanians that just don't want to work or not willing to work or not qualified to work? You remember when he said that, which I thought was one of the bravest, craziest things I've ever heard from a public official, and it probably contributed to him not being, and I'm talking about Ross and Anglin, contributed to him not being elected at that time. The situation hasn't changed, and what he said then is as applicable then or today as it was back then. So, the regulations, and there needs to be a tightening up of everything, and people really need to be looked at. But we Caymanians are the same ones that are going to turn around. If I don't know, in your business, I don't know how many staff you got, but I think it's just you, and Marlon. But let's say you now grow to the point where you need 3 permits. If you don't
Marlon doesn't work. Marlon does not work for me. He has his own job.
Marlon works for himself.
He has his own job and making his own money.
I know.
I refuse.
Forgive me.
Yeah, I refuse to have him work for me.
I wish immigration would raid you and free him from you. That's what I hope.
Because I'm not really a proponent of spouses working together. It's probably not all that healthy for the relationship. But I have people that I work with and I outsource stuff. So listen, the bottom line is this particular example that we're talking about don't make no sense, Johan. Okay.
Listen, it's Cayman Brock. Nothing don't make sense in Cayman Brock. What are you talking about?
They have a Grand Cayman address and block and parcel number listed. But let me take the next caller. Thank you so much for your comments.
Right. Take care. Good luck. Bye.
Good morning, caller. Welcome to the program.
Sandra, good morning. Curtis and Brock, how you doing?
Morning, Curtis. How are you?
Okay, Mom.
Good.
I heard you talking about this dude from the Brat.
Lamardo?
And this and that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You do know that they live in Grand Cayman and most of those businesses are in Grand Cayman. Though.
I understand that. Don't get insulted now as a Brock, you know. Don't get insulted. I understand that, but he's still not from Cayman Brock.
Yeah, but what we know about him down here, we in Cayman Brock.
Well, you say you're not gonna own him.
No, but other guys, you guys are speaking like he doing all the businesses up here and be allowing it.
No, that's so. When I refer to him,
that's how I took it, and that's how
don't,
Derek took it. Why he made the comment too.
Don't take it that way because I'm saying he's a Caymanian first and foremost, and we're all Caymanians, whether we're Bracas or from Little Cayman or Grand Cayman. So we should be embarrassed of him regardless.
Yeah, but we don't know what's going on in Grand Cayman.
Well, listen, he just bought a bar in Cayman Brac, so you soon know because he's gonna be running prostitutes through there too. How about that?
Yeah, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it.
And not gonna be long. But no, I mean, my understanding is they still doing some stuff in the Brac as well. You know, obviously the business.
They got one or two houses for
right,
that's all that I know about. That's all I know about.
Well, the prostitution still.
How you spoke was like boy, Brac is making him do all of this.
No.
Like everybody thinks that everything is going on up here.
Well, there's a lot going on up there if you're willing to be honest. I'm just saying. You think Cayman Brac is all that innocent given a little small population? I got another one that has been reported to me that's right there in the Brac. So,
okay.
I mean, we can call that name too.
All right, cool.
It's just a hot mess, to be honest. You know, so listen, none of the islands are getting a pass here today. This isn't, us versus them or whatever. But I'm saying as small as Cayman Brac is, the fact that any of this could potentially be going on there and people not paying attention, I think is a big problem. So we have another one by the name of, I got to throw her name out there, but I'm not coming straight to her yet. And she, again, is a Filipina lady. And her name is Teresa Delphin Stout, married to an American. And she has been doing the most right here in Cayman as well. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Another Filipina married to Caymanian and doing all kind of foolishness. So we gotta get to them one by one, because like I said, CBC and WRC look like they need help investigating. So we helping them.
All right, cool.
Thank you, Curtis. Appreciate it.
All right, bye.
Here's someone who speaks specifically to the Brac situation. They said, Sandra, think about it. We've had two ministers, Julian Moses and Cayman Brac, in power for some straight 16 years. Well, to be clear, Juliana has been in power more like 30 years or closer to 30 years. Okay. But I guess they've been in there. Moses has probably been in there about 16 years until he retired, who have had their board members in place just as long: immigration, liquor, DCI, etc. The one that has been in charge of immigration board in the Brac is almost 90 or 80 years old. My apologies. SEMA's liquor license. He's about 65 to 70. Good morning, caller.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My dear, I think I heard someone trying to defend the situation in Cayman Brac. But and I know, Cayman Brac is awash with drugs. It's full of every kind of drug to the point where people are going back and forth from Grand Cayman to Cayman Brac to get the drugs and bring them back to Grand Cayman. There's also a blind eye turned to that. As a matter of fact, I was speaking to someone just yesterday who recently moved here from the UK. They are from the UK, but because of a Cayman connection, they've now been able to get Cayman status. So it's a Caymanian. When she started inquiring about coming here, someone that she knew who had been down here as a police in a senior position said, be careful. It is the most corrupt system you will ever come across. I couldn't say I left after 6 months because corruption at every level, but more in the police than anywhere else. I left there after 6 months. So that's the kind of reputation we're getting. But what I have to say about this whole Filipina situation, and everybody in Cayman Brac knows who's behind it. It was all started with Letty Scott. She came here years ago, married a Caymanian, and they always look for very vulnerable Caymanians. And I can tell you, if Lamardo Scott is involved in it, it is that he was manipulated, coerced, and there's some mastermind behind it because it ain't him. If anybody knows him,
but listen to me, caller. Listen to me now. We were reading this report from one of their victims who said that he was the one talking to her about how she must get with a man with money. She can't date anybody else, scrutinizing her body, telling her must stay pretty, not to put on any weight, all this kind of stuff. Let us take responsibility as Caymanians for our own people doing wrong.
Sandra, all I got to say about that.
We know he not bright, you know. I'm not saying that.
Confusing. No. I'm telling you, I must be confusing the name with someone else. That this is not about taking responsibility. There are Caymanians who were destroyed.
Well, look on the screen so you can see who he is, because I don't know if there's more than one Lamardo Scott around the place.
Boy, I can't believe there would be more than one of him. But the last I heard about him, his claim to fame was Rene Hislop and his wife Julie taking videos of him saying one shot. That went viral. However, maybe something has changed.
I don't know.
Live in Cayman Brac.
Yeah,
but
like the last caller said, he obviously is here in Grand Cayman. But Lamardo used to work with, I believe, I stand to be corrected, but I believe CIAA. Because even
but then I'm confusing him. I'm sorry.
Even on
Lamardo that I'm thinking of used to chop bush along the road with the crew.
I don't know on his Facebook profile, which you can't always go by that. He claims that he's a meteorologist at his own company.
Lord,
so I
am confusing. I'm sorry, because
but look at his picture.
Listen to me, Sandra. I'm going to say this plain and raw. The Lamardo I believe that I was talking about is an imbecile. Well, he would not be capable. So this is not the same one.
Well, a lot of people say this one not as sharpest. Now, I don't know if I would technically define him as an imbecile, but he knows what he's doing.
Imbecile.
Oh well.
Yeah, it's
this one know what he's doing. Yeah, he not that stupid.
My bad. I've confused them.
Yeah, no. He not the sharpest, but I wouldn't say
for the record, Caymanians are who destroyed.
Of course,
Cayman.
That's right.
There has been no one else.
That's right.
That has ever signed a work permit,
amen,
a business license, an LCCL, an application for status. There had to be a Caymanian signature on it.
Yes.
And as for the great sell-off of our land, we need to tell the truth. It started with Jim Borden and Rex Creighton. Jim Borden, who is our first national hero, is who brought the great sell-off in Cayman and a lot of other bad things. And he became a national hero. So maybe that's who all our other people are emulating. But we, foolish Caymanians, have destroyed our own country. And for the record, and for anyone who doesn't know, this is Lorna Bush, and I endorse this message. Goodbye, Sandra.
Thank you, Miss Lorna. I appreciate it. I wasn't catching the voice. I'm glad you told me. So, I'm not sure which Lamardo she confusing him with, but this is him. Like I said, he's not known to be the sharpest, but I wouldn't call him an imbecile either. And it is very, very obvious that he himself, listen, you can only manipulate people too much. I mean, I know pom pom manipulation is a whole other game of something, whatever. But most of y'all still recognize that you're being manipulated. I'm just saying. All right, let me continue reading the letter, and we do have others, and I can't go into too much overtime today because I have a couple of appointments. But let's go back to this letter from one of their victims. She says that they're not just hiring staff, they're importing vulnerable women under the promise of respectable work and then pushing us into an environment where sexual harassment is tolerated, where we are pressured to entertain, in quotes, customers in ways that cross every boundary, where leaving feels almost impossible. We're treated like disposable tools to increase their sales and build their brand. For a long time, I felt completely alone. The rumors, the lies, and the shaming followed me where I tried to distance myself. My reputation was damaged to the point that even people close to me believed that I was the one doing something wrong. Meanwhile, the people who orchestrated everything carried on as if they were respectable business owners, hiding behind new company names and a long line of fresh recruits. Eventually, with the help of a close friend, I found the courage and the support I needed to get out faster than some of the other women. I was lucky. Many are not. Some are still there, still being pressured to entertain customers, still trapped by debt and fear, and still believing that they have no choice. I think about them every day. I think about the women who borrowed money that they can never repay if they lose their job. I think about the single mothers who thought that they were coming here to work hard and provide for their children, only to be pushed towards prostitution. I think about the ones who were too afraid to speak up because their permits, their housing, their safety, and even their family's survival depends on staying silent. This is why I'm telling my story anonymously. I am still scared. I know very well that what these people are capable of, and I know how they react when anyone threatens their power or their profiles. But I also know that if we keep quiet, they will continue using their businesses and recruitment agencies to lure in more desperate workers, to exploit them, to discard them, and to replace them with the next hopeful face. I'm asking the authorities, the regulators, and the community to look closely at what is happening behind these respectable doors. Check the recruitment agencies, verify whether these businesses are real or just fronts, and listen to the women who are too afraid to show their faces. We're not just workers, we are daughters, mothers, sisters. We came here to work, not to be bought, sold, and humiliated. What is happening is not just immoral, it is illegal, and it has to stop. Wow. Good morning, caller.
Chandra Curtis again.
Yes, sir.
Let the whole Cayman know this is Curtis Connolly. And I am not defending Lamardo. All I was saying that most of this that you guys say is going on in Grand Cayman.
Yes.
And Lorna was talking about Lamardo's brother, Lenrick. She got mixed up with him.
Oh, so he even slower than poor thing.
Playing the slower.
Oh,
yeah.
My sweet.
Nice guy though. Solid
yeah.
guy.
My goodness.
Yeah, but I see Miss Romelia and all them commenting about defending, but I'm not defending nobody. I don't defend my children when they're wrong, much less. But all I was saying that most of the businesses they're talking about is in Grand Cayman. All I know that Lamardo and Cayman back is 2 houses for rent. So I'm not defending nobody.
Mm-hmm.
All right?
We appreciate it, my darling.
All right, cool. Yeah.
All right, another victim has come forward. Please hide my identity. I'm one of the victims of the scheming scam of Nydia Scott and her husband. Oh my God, so many. So let me tell you now, the only way that we can bring these people and bring this scam to stop is by exposing it, okay? And we have got to expose this fully. For whatever reason, you guys are not going to the authorities, but you're coming to me. And so I take my position and my role in this regard extremely, extremely seriously, right? I will provide the authorities with as much information as possible. I understand Johan's point that some of you have paid to get here. He feels like you must have known, you're part of the scam, whatever. But for the purposes of WRC, CBC, the police, and their investigations, you are protected and you are seen as a victim. It's like when you have a prostitute who's being pimped out by a pimp, right? Who is the victim? Some of you say, well, the prostitute has a choice, doesn't she? Not if she's being beaten and manipulated and put in a financial position by her pimp where she has to do what he says. So although these women are not necessarily being physically beaten, they're beaten down in other ways where, as that woman just said, they are brought here under conditions, under pretense. They're lied to. So yes, they thought, okay, I'm going to pay a fee to get here. There's some people, okay, I'm going to charge you a recruitment fee. That in and of itself is not necessarily the illegal part. It's what then happens from there that is the problem. They're brought here and they're pushed into positions where they don't have any real work for them. Right? After 3 months, you better go out there and find it. You're lucky if you even get a job in the bar, but you go out there and find. They're being told to lie about how much money they're making. They're being pushed into the arms of men. That's prostitution. That is now where the human trafficking part starts to come into play. So this ultimately is the problem. And I cannot hold anyone accountable for this more than I'm going to hold my own Caymanians who, like I said, it is their name on the business license. In fact, the wife's name is nowhere on the recruiting, the LSJ or LJS, which is Lamardo's initials, I have surmised, right? The wife's name is not connected to that recruitment business, not at all. It's Lamardo Scott trading as LJS Recruitment. So he is the one who we have got to hold accountable as Caymanians in this country. His business license is up for renewal in May. We have got to find ways for our government agencies to start being able to turn down these business licenses. If you were involved in illegal activity, once again, I put the question, how is it that the Filipino government can shut her down on that end, but we are so impotent, we can't do it here? Thank you, Jennifer. And I notice there's a lot of Filipinos with the 900 plus people now that we have over 900 people listening to the show. I notice there's a lot of Filipinos here. Reach out to me. My personal number is 324-1612. Reach out to me. We have got to put a stop to this. And not just this couple. They might be the most, prolific, but there are others out there. The Nepalese community, a lot going on because she's not just bringing in Filipinos, by the way. She's bringing Nepalese nationals as well. But there's a lot of others out there who are taking advantage of the Nepalese. Come forward. Because you know what's going to happen? Let me tell you guys something. I put up a poll question the other day, right? About whether or not it's not time for our government to start considering when people have a reputation, AKA like the Filipinos, for taking advantage of their own people, for human trafficking, for taking advantage of our work permit system. Do we need to start clamping down on every single nationality doing like very, very stringent? In other words, we're not going to approve your work permits. Let me tell you something. I'm going to show y'all this result here now. The vast majority of people said yes. So you guys are only shooting yourselves in the foot, right? You're not going to continue to be able to come to the Cayman Islands without Caymanians saying, we have had enough of this foolishness. And before you know it, there's going to be a backlash against the Filipino community. There's going to be a backlash against the Nepalese community and anybody else who wants to do this. Let me be very, very clear. The poll question, let me give you the results. I think it's probably 90-something% of the people who participated in this actually said, and this shows you the strong reaction in the sentiments involved in this, that they support restricting people from your countries because of this. 96% of the people said yes. So the overwhelming, and I do mean overwhelming majority, are in favor of stricter immigration action tied to specific nationalities who are demonstrating that they have a history of this type of behavior. And what that means for all of you, you need to look at it because human beings are inherently, selfish. What that means for you is you guys are running the risk that our governments will soon say enough is enough, no more Filipino work permits. So you're not helping yourself in the long run. We have no issue with any nationalities coming here once they do it the right way and they follow the rules, right? There's lots of hardworking Filipinos in this country that have integrated and become part of our Caymanian communities. We have absolutely no issues with any of you who are here and following the laws, but more and more, we are getting the Filipino riffraffs like Nydia, right? They're abusing systems. They're stealing. We have lots of examples showing up now in the court system. More and more your people are becoming part of the court system for theft, for deception. There was one a couple years ago during COVID, deceiving her own people with fraudulent tickets. When I sat there and listened to the skill set that this woman had, where she was even doctoring bank transfer documents and say, oh, she had returned the money. I don't even know how you do that. They're using their skill level for nothing but criminality, and as Caymanians would say, pure badness. And it's not going to be tolerated. We're not going to allow anyone, and I'm speaking for myself and on behalf of every single Caymanian in this country that got any sense, because clearly we got a few that don't have no sense. We are not going to allow anyone to come into the Cayman Islands and destroy our country and make it like theirs that they are running from. There's a reason why you are here. You're looking for a better life. What better life are you going to have if your own people are bringing you here under false pretenses, charging you exorbitant fees, and then pushing you into prostitution? Michelle, DJ Ryan, all of you are part and parcel of the problem. And it has to stop. We have to stamp out this type of behavior before it gets any worse. And this is bad enough. Believe me, you. So she has single-handedly brought in more Filipinos than anyone else. But there's more people. Yeah, so there's the Kyla Davidson. She's a Jamaican. Running scams on people same way. Bringing in people, don't have no work for them. Those are the Jamaicans now that it's happening to. It is time we say enough is enough. That was the campaign slogan for, what's the government name again? That one party, oh Lord, I can't remember their name. But their whole slogan was enough is enough. Well, I'm here to tell you it's still enough is enough. We have had enough of the corruption. We've had enough of our CBC officers being called into disrepute because of their bad behavior. We have had enough of them being so far at these women's vaginas, right? That they are following them at every nook and cranny and promising them all the way to the UK when they're kicking them off the plane because our country has deported them. TCCP, thank you. They running around still defending them. And oh, I'm going to get you back in the Cayman Islands if you sleep with me. We know who you are. And you're a CBC officer and you should be ashamed of even putting that uniform on and getting up and going to work in the mornings. You guys are disgusting. And as someone said to me this morning, let me share this comment as well. They said, Sandra, don't leave out the lawyers, the doctors, and let me see here, the other ones who are actually exploiting these women. Good morning. We have English men, lawyers, and accountants exploiting low-income females, especially the same people that you're talking about. Some of them are being hired as nannies in homes, and then they're being exploited as sex workers. Y'all need to stop it. Every single one of you is contributing to this problem. You want a sex worker? Go out of Cayman. This is not the place for it. Jennifer, thank you so much. She said it's called the NBI, the National Bureau of Investigation. So the NBI, right, has shut down the license for the recruitment agency on the Filipino side, trying to curtail this woman's behavior, Nydia. And here we are in Cayman because they received so many complaints about her. And here we are in Cayman and can't do nothing about it. Here is Daryl Guevara, the brother, right here in Manila, Philippines. The people of the Philippines versus Daryl Tongson Guevara accused applicant Maverick Soro Pena, right? This is for pornography distribution in his country. He has a conviction and yet lies on his immigration paperwork to be able to come to the Cayman Islands. And I bet you the same idiot that brought him into. So they're even bringing in criminals into this country. And we're sitting back allowing it to, oh, well, we weren't really able to find that case. Well, that's funny because somebody could sure send me the screenshot of it. Maybe y'all need to know how to do a little bit more research. I'm just saying. Seriously. APOC 447, we've missed you. Says this is human trafficking through and through. Keepa says, unbelievable. I hope the kids won't suffer the consequences. This is hard for them. What kids are you referring to? The kids of Lamardo and Nydia? I'm sorry. Do I look like I give a fuck? When you as an adult decide to engage in criminal activity and you're not even worried about your own children and the well-being of your family when you are finally exposed, because as they say, you can do what you want, but you're not going to do it for as long as you want. So it's only a matter of time before what you do, what is done in the dark, will come to light. So did Lamardo and this stupid woman, Nydia, think that we would never find out? That this would never be exposed? Well, I know they got another thing coming. And this should be a warning to all of you who are involved in this type of activity. So I'm not caring about their children no more than they're caring about their children. Let me put it that way. And it is obvious through their actions that they don't care about their children at all. Otherwise, they wouldn't do it. They would run legitimate businesses. And yes, thanks to the listener who said, oh, he just bought Elvis's bar. We know Elvis called in the other day. We are well aware. So now, like I said to Curtis, they're going to be in Cayman Brac, running a prostitution ring right there at the liquor store. It's not a bar, but it's a liquor store. So they're going to be running it right there up in the liquor store. Here's another thing I want you guys to be very, very cognizant of. I, for one, do not support any local businesses that engage in this type of behavior. Now, I'm not a bar person, so that's easy. I've never been in bar and tap and wine and tap and whatever they're calling themselves. Wine on top of the tap, whatever. But every single one of these businesses, because sometimes, I've supported largely Filipino-run businesses. They have cleaning businesses and stuff. And what I like about them is when you utilize their services, they'll send like 4 or 5 people to clean so they don't have to be up in your face all day. Like they come in for a couple hours with 4 or 5 workers, they can quickly get in and out. Prices are reasonable. I pay them. I've even there was a Filipino company some Christmases ago that I used their services on Christmas Day. And I felt really bad that the lady was working Christmas Day. And she said, Miss Sandy, I don't mind because I don't have family here. So I'm not going to really be celebrating Christmas anyway. But she's like, I'll get the double pay and whatever. And, I ended up giving her $100 as a tip because I'm like, gosh, you came out on Christmas Day. I appreciated it. I just needed someone to help me as I'm cooking. They're watching the pots real quick so the house is not a total mess. But, I made sure that I compensated her even by way of a tip. She was shocked. She's like, all of this is for me. And I said, yeah, because she's not even going to make that from the hours that she worked, the 4 hours or 5 hours that she was here. She's not going to make that. But I said, no, this is for you. Caymanians also have a role in this to play. And our role is you don't support businesses who engage in this type of non-compliant, illegal activity and behavior. After this week, every single Caymanian that goes and fraternizes with these people and hangs out with Lamardo and his wife and does business with them, you should be ashamed of yourself too. Because I'm understanding that how the scam is so successful is that there are businesses here who are also working with them, pretending to be giving them contracts when they don't even have no contracts for like the cleaning business and all kind of stuff. You are also part and parcel of the problem. And if I ever find out which one of you companies doing these pretend and fake contracts with Lamardo's companies, I get exposed your backside too. because you're all in it together. So you can get a couple dollars. You can be in on the take. Enough is enough. Miss Sandy, they go back door. They don't go to the right channel to come here. It's unfortunate. KY says police not doing nothing because they have 9 business licenses and buying a bar in the BRAC for that long and they're not in cuffs. Shady. Well, again, this isn't directly the police. This is all these other enforcement agencies that seem to not be doing the right thing. Ms. Jennifer says, true, they're heartless. I came here legally through legal means. The Department of Migrant Worker will not allow you to leave my country if you don't have a proper documentation. And my fellow people in the Philippines fall for this scammer. That's why Nydia used backdoor, no DMW, I don't know what that means, and Polo in Washington clearance so they can come here immediately. They pose as tourists. Dawn even put up a big fight with the NCB group to try and remain in that location. Sure, she had to know about it. How could she be working for the Scott family but was let go by Dawn? Wasn't it 2 different businesses? What I can tell you is the work permit that she had was from Vine and Tap. So again, this is a lot of questions about what kind of relationship did Dawn have with the karaoke people. So Nydia has the real deal karaoke bar. She brings her in on the temporary and then Dawn takes her over. Why would Dawn be doing that? Make that bitch keep her on a work permit herself. This is where as Caymanians, we allow people, whether it's pure stupidity or turning a blind eye or we're on the take, we allow people to abuse the system here and we have got to stop it. There's no reason to do it. So, Anthony, you make a very valid point. Jennifer says, yes, it's sad, but sometimes my fellow Filipinos know this, but still do this. They think that it's easy to find a job here. Yeah, they're being told all kind of, come to the Cayman Islands, the land of milk and honey. And then when our government put our foot down and said no more Filipinos can come to Cayman, then y'all gonna be up in your feelings. And y'all gonna think that we gonna care about that shit. We're not gonna care. Because you put this on yourselves. Maybe she's linked to Sarah's Boutique. This is another one whose name keeps coming up. Sarah's Boutique. I'm sick and tired of hearing about this, Sarah. Because she's now on the Spanish side of things. With work permits and stuff as well. You gonna be next. Somebody try and get me the down low on Sarah and what she's up to because her name keeps popping up. It keeps popping up. And there's a reason. Hey, morning, Jim. Jim says, it's not always what you know, but who you know, and who will do and who will do the person the favors for them, slip a few bucks from hand to hand, like taking the person out for a sandwich is all it takes. These individuals are rubbing elbows with certain individuals. They just use one another to get what they want. Absolutely horrible. Blissful Powell says kaboom to Miss Lorna. I don't know if we gave her kaboom, but let's give Miss Lorna Bush a kaboom this morning. There seems to be a lot of covering up for Cayman Brockers. Wow. When the facts are real, says Ramelia. What a hot mess. Sarah Sue from the BRAC listening. She says, this is so sad. Morning, Miss Sherry Ann. Sadiqa says kaboom for that anonymous person. All what she's saying is what many of us are going through as expats. And that was the letter that we were reading. Miss Amelia, kaboom. Debbie says, so we in the Cayman Islands have our own version of the Epstein files. Jeffrey Epstein and Giselle. What her name was again? Not Giselle. Jesslyn Maxwell Incognito. What a disgusting scenario for the Cayman Islands. Jesus, take the wheel. Penalize them all, says Tartarian. Yes, we do, says KY Forever. Clamp it down, says Jim. It's not only the Filipino community acting like this. No, not at all. We've got Jamaicans doing it. Imagine such a small little country and every nationality won't come here and abuse us and use the system. We better wake the hell up. Because guess what? Once they destroy Cayman, and this is a cesspool, they can go back where they come from or somewhere else. So don't fuck around and make them mess up what we have here. This unique little paradise, some of them would be too happy to be able to say, oh yeah, look what happened to Cayman. They got destroyed when they're the reason why we got destroyed, but they can pick up and go. No, that's not gonna happen around here. Here's another one that came in yesterday. This person says, let me see here now. It says, hey, just tuning into your radio show. This was actually yesterday afternoon that they had messaged. And they go on to say, thanks for exposing all of these people destroying Cayman. I'm a Caymanian who grew up in the US, while 99% of my family still lives in Cayman. So I did the military thing, traveled to the Philippines many times, lived there before, and let me tell you, the whole country is run like a cult. They are taught by these Catholic leaders who tell them that it's okay to lie multiple times. I've asked young Filipinos who told them it was okay to lie, and they say their parents and ministers, they said, to get a good idea of their mindset, and I'm talking about 95% of the whole country, their parents will have roughly 5 to 10 children, okay, with the idea in their heads that they will either work in the go-go bars at 14 or go abroad and work in another country to bring their money back home to their parents. If you do a quick Google search on Filipino women scamming foreigners, you'll see hundreds of forums where men are talking about they have been scammed. Well, again, the willing being scammed. That's kind of ironic because these men need to do better. But anyway, they're taught to play like church-like roles of being innocent. But in my opinion, they are true devils. They were taught for many generations to marry the white man and discard the black man. The blacker you are, the worse the treatment. In my case, and he's a black man, by the way, I have a Filipino child that lives with a bad mother. Never told me that I had a child for 2 years. Contacted me during COVID and told me. I told her I would support him. Just give me a DNA test first. Set the test and $70 US over there. She ran away with the money. Imagine running away with $70 at that anything. My God. You know, these poor people desperate. She ran away with the money and did not do the test until I went there a year later when I tracked her down. If it was determined that this is my child at that time, she would have gotten $200 to $300 on a monthly basis. See the mindset? This is who they are. They're taught from day one to bring that money home to their parents at all costs. And then he said in caps, all cost. And then, of course, you know, we have to ask the question, why are you men so attracted to what you know is going to be a toxic situation? So I replied and said, well, this is very much a transactional situation. So you men know that they want your money. And obviously for a little sex and a rolling in the sheets and the hay and whatever else you're rolling in, you're happy to give it to them. So I'm not feeling too sorry for you men either. But when I say it's very transactional, he says, yes, very transactional. And of course, Cayman men want that submissive woman. And it's also physical for them. Filipino women are very small. Well, not all of them, but okay. And the sex is very good, debatable, because they are small. Just speaking honestly, this is the main reason why they're taken over. I don't believe that shit. Sex is good because you're small? What the fuck? No. Anyway, I responded to that, as you can see, and I said, well, I don't know about the sex part because I'm hearing, and I spelled it wrong. My apologies. I'm seeing it now. Most can't even F their way out of a brown paper sack, but it's more about their submissive nature being attractive sexually, as you can do whatever you want to them and they will take it. He replies, correct. And there's a lot of lonely men on that island, so do the math. Y'all just want a woman that you can do anything to. Submissive. Caller, good morning, honey child.
Good morning, Sandy. How are you?
Not bad. How you doing?
I haven't spoken to you for quite some time.
Yeah, man, I miss you.
Okay. I was listening to some of the previous comments that was made on your show this morning.
Mm-hmm.
First and foremost, a lot of what you see going on here is Caymanians to blame.
Mm-hmm. Of course.
I'm going to turn your page over a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
When you look on the street.
By the way, this is my friend from West Bay?
That's exactly.
Oh, all right.
When you look on the streets every day and see the amount of Caymanians or people with Cayman status that are roaming up and down the street, not wanting to do anything except you got a little fire I can get. What's happening now? I mean, it is out of control what's going on here. There should be a law up front. If you're not working, you need to know what you're doing. Not going to the NAU and getting benefits, getting money to buy rum and booze and all kind of things. No, it is out of control, like you said, but it's more than one question to this thing. Why are my lazy Caymanians on the street, and women as well, complaining about, well, you know, she lost a child and want to get the sympathetic part here and so on and so forth. Listen, there is lots of T's to be crossed and I's to be dotted. There's a lot going on this island, and somebody needs to take the bull by the horns and do what we have to do. That's where the avenue is opening for these people to come in here and do all kind of illegal things, because Caymanians are outright lazy people. Not a lot, but enough to have a debt in our society. Come on, man. I'm 78 years old, and I'm still going, thank God. You know, why not? Why not? I'm going to sit on the sideline or get on a bicycle and smoke a cigarette and happen because got a little fire I can get. No. Get your backside out and do what I did from 14 years old. Unless something happens, we are doomed big time. And what I want to say against Sandy, then I'm going to let it go. I just heard earlier about the CBC or whatever repatriated these people to Cuba. I am not at Jimmy Carter hugging up Cubans with open arms. But wait a minute now. With what they're going through in this modern day, not just the ordinary man on the street, but you got all of these people hugging up the Bible and going into church every day and preaching from Genesis to Revelation, what you should do and what you shouldn't do. Look at these poor people in Cuba that are starving, literally starving to death. Nobody in our society has the decency to say, look, let's see if we can get something together and send something to Cuba. Do something. Don't talk about going to church, because I go to church too. But these people are suffering, outright sufferers. And nobody in our society, maybe I heard Mr. Mario is trying to get something together to send, but it's outright ridiculous that all of these people going to church every day, Christian people like butter can melt in their mouth. And look at these poor people in Cuba. They are dropping down in Cuba like flies, starvation because of malnutrition, no medication. And here we are up on top of the mountain, thing that every day is not going to be like this. And it's high time that we remember, because I can remember when Cuba was Cuba, Cayman highly depended on Cuba. Jamaica as well, Honduras. Cuba was the hub of the Caribbean. I just hope what I said was taken in right context. And another day when we have more time, we'll talk. But, you know, I'm seeing what is thing going on in Cayman about these women coming here. A lot of it is because of our people not getting up and taking the right position. Thank you so much, Sandy.
Thank you. I appreciate it, sir. Thank you so much. What a mess. Some people saying to me, boy, Sandy, we have a lot of people who are falling prey, and you know, y'all need to do better. There was one more that I wanted to share before I end the show. I do have a 10:30 appointment, so I got to wrap this up. But let's get to this one that came in this morning. This one is really, really long, but I'm going to read it as quickly as possible. And we're not going to let up on these people. You know, they're going to have to come clean. Our agencies are going to have to do their jobs, and it is what it is. That's the bottom line here. All right, here's another complainant. And I noticed that even on our social media stories, Filipinas and Filipinos themselves are coming forward saying it is about time. It's about time that that this woman is exposed. They said, finally. So this one, once again, says, finally. One second. Let me see here now. Let's see. 1 second for me, please. I'm multitasking here because as stuff is coming in, I'm sending it to the relevant agencies so, they can deal with it. But this one says, finally, Nydia Lamardo scheme came to light. It has been how many years that they did it to people? We actually tried to report it before in labor, but nothing happened. Let me just pause there. You see what I'm talking about? So some of the victims themselves have tried to report these situations, and look, nothing happened. Really? If that is not a perfect example of how the system is failing. If labor gets a complaint, for example, and perhaps it's not exactly a labor issue, but they recognize that maybe there are some issues going on here with enforcement, with WRC or CBC or whatever, forward it on to them. Are you telling me that we have zero discussions between the agencies in terms of what is going on? That's ludicrous. Let me continue reading. I was under Nydia's agency before, but I was working in one of the bars as a bartender, and I know most of her employees, and specifically, I know what she do in her agency, and her scheme is like this. She will post a job on her Facebook or ask her friends or friends of friends that she is looking someone for the position. And when she found one, she will offer her a salary, a promise, and a good future. Her way is like this. She will charge the person for a permit, and when that permit is approved, she will ask the person to go to Cayman as soon as possible. But of course, that person doesn't have money for the airfare and house rental. She will willingly cover all of these expenses and will say she will less those expenses to their salary. Once a person will arrive in Cayman, she will ask them to start right away in her bar, Vine and Tap before, now Real Deal KTV. Where is Real Deal KTV located? Can someone tell me where that bar is located, please? Thanks. Most of the employees, she only gives $600 per month without overtime. You start working at 2 p.m. or 3 p.m. until 2 a.m. And her reason, you will get a tip. And this is the reason why most of her employees went on asking money for sex just to be able to live for that month, because apparently they don't have money. One thing I hate with both of them is that they make the ladies like a prostitute. Lamardo will call all his Caymanian friends. Lamardo, you are disgusting. You are something else. Really? Let's keep reading. Lamardo will call all his Caymanian friends, or he will send the picture of the new bartender to these guys, and he will tell them to come at the bar because they have a new lady. He will push this lady to talk and entertain to his friends and to the other guys who will come to the bar because they are the customers. I've seen so many guys harassing these ladies, and some of them can't take it anymore, but they can't do anything about it because they still have debt to pay to Lydia, and they have only 3 months or 6 months permit. The fact that Lamardo is always present when something, those things happen, and do nothing about it because his stance is they are customers. Another scheme of Lydia is that she will charge you for pension, but will not pay to the pension company. Let me finish. Let me grab the next bit. Hold on. All of this is ridiculous. All of this is going on right underneath our noses. Where the hell is enforcement? And then the bottom bit says, hopefully they will take action between these two because they do so much damage to the Filipino community and to Cayman itself. Please hide my identity. Wow. Enough is enough. No more. And more victims are coming forward. I can tell you, they're messaging me, please, are you able to protect my identity? I will, but I'm telling you guys that the real way to get Lamardo and his wife is you guys have got to be willing to make statements to CBC, to WORC. We have got to trust the system. Jeremy, you need to handle your business because you are being made out to look really, really bad in all of this. Because of course, right? People are like, how Jeremy not doing nothing? That because that's his cousin. Don't make people drag your name into any foolishness. And by the way, one person says a couple of months ago, one Filipina employee of hers at the bar got positive for HIV. So she had to leave the island. She knows a lot are the same now. So let's not forget that in addition to all of this, they're also here because of the behavior, spreading sexual behavior, et cetera, et cetera. It's time to put a stop to this nonsense. I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry. We're not going to continue to tolerate this. This is but one. How many are out there? How many are out there? Ask yourselves that question. How many more? She is prolific. Lamardo and his wife are very, very prolific. But they're not the only ones. My apologies, I didn't get to the robberies that we had in town. We had 5 burglaries overnight, night before last, and we have video footage. So I'll be putting up additional video footage. We put one up already, and some of you think you know exactly who the perpetrators are. So we'll pass that information on to the RCIPS. But when it comes to these immigration scammers, I don't care if your name is Sari. I don't care if your name is Lamardo. I don't care if you're a Scott. I don't care if you're Cayman Baraka. I don't care if you're from Grand Cayman. We're going to expose every single one of you. You have nothing to fear, apparently, from the authorities themselves. But you're going to have somebody to fear and something to fear because guess what? We're going to get your picture. We're going to put it up big and loud. Yeah? We're going to show exactly what you're up to. And all of you that have been brought here by this woman, you need to do your part. Reach out and share your stories. Human trafficking is not right. Being forced into prostitution is not right. What Lamardo is doing to these women is not right. That shows you what he is too. And I don't know if his mother is still alive. I have no clue about his people, but his mother must be very ashamed of him because I'm sure she never raised him to be a pimp. Right? And trying to create prostitutes out of vulnerable women. As a woman, I'm ashamed to even know that Nydia, as another woman, would ever put women in this position where they're having to sell their bodies. That means that it's okay with you, and you've obviously done it yourself. That's the only way you could ever condone this kind of behavior, because you yourself sold yourself, probably to Lamardo. That's how you met him. And so therefore, you think it's okay. You see, people even calling up Jeremy Neem, telling he involved with the sex workers. I don't know nothing about that, but of course people are going to say these things when you, as the head of WRC, not doing jack shit about this stuff. Do something about it. There's only so much that our elected officials will be able to do. Michael Miles can change every law in the book. And these scammers like her are smart enough to find a way around it. They'll always find an alternative route of breaking the laws. That's why we need to have better accountability. We need to have people in the system who can see what's happening and deal with them accordingly. And that is also why each and every one of us has an obligation, a legal obligation, a moral obligation to the point that when we see wrongdoing, we have to report it. We have to call it out. Whether it's one of our own or not, it does not matter. We have to stomp this out because it is going to destroy our country that our forefathers sacrificed and worked too hard to build. And it won't take long for it to happen either if we sit back and do absolutely nothing. Right? So speak up. The best thing that you can do, folks, is to speak up. It's at all levels of the community. Jim says, what hasn't been brought up is what about the health STDs? We just talked about that. Apparently one of them got infected and had to go. Same thing with the Dominican girl in Cayman Brac that was brought in to work in a bar there that they found out had HIV. You know, she didn't last for very long. But he says STDs being affected and infecting others. Herpes apparently runs rampant here on the island. And what about HIV and all the other STDs? Some of these diseases are for a lifetime, could even be death. Rodell says that they're trying to do Cayman like, what's it called? Olongapo, which is the famous hooker clubs in the Philippines. Look here now. We don't want any of that shit in our country. If you want sex workers, if you want your choice of Nydia or a lady boy or this or that, take that shit back to the Philippines. Keep that in your country. There's a reason why decent people are trying to get the hell out of the Philippines. Why they can't have any more opportunities. Unfortunately, you guys have done a really sufficient job of ruining your own country, and that not got nothing to do with us. But you're not going to bring it over here. You're not going to bring it to our shores. Here's another one. There's also a Filipino in the Brac who's married. They're bringing Filipinas for high fee, using a cleaning agency for permit, only to work a few hours in a week, hardly making enough money for food and rent. Some had to come to find a better job to get better pay. You see, the way that they're looking at it, right, is they're just like, okay, let me just get there. Once I get on the island, I can move around and start finding jobs. That is why we need to expedite. As much as I have said, let's get the immigration changes right, because there will be unintended consequences. The one change, without a doubt, that is going to curtail some of this nonsense is that when you get in a job, you're behind, gonna stay there for 2 years. You're not moving to another friggin' work permit. Put that in place. Quick time, put that in place. Because it's going to stop people like her. Stop with these temporary work permits. Why is it that every single permit she's putting in has to be a temporary work permit? She's not planning her 9 businesses, since they're such big time business people. Are they not planning their staffing and their 9 businesses? Why? I mean, again, the system not working. Because this is common sense. How common? How every permit you need gonna be a temporary permit? Everything is urgent. And them fools over at WRC just rubber stamping this shit. That doesn't even make any sense. That is not how you run a business. You don't run a business on temporary work permits like that. Jamie says Caribbean men really adore physical attributes like a head up, just a heads up, unless that particular person can only handle a small thing. Just saying. Child, let me tell you something. Sometimes when people say certain things, Brenda says, well, he's being honest. He's admitting that it's all about the sex. When they say certain things, I don't even know. Because you Caribbean men claim that you're so well endowed. Why you not looking for a woman with a little bit of meat instead of one that you're pushing it on that it goes right through? Like, that don't even make no sense. It's not even about that, because I've heard some of them, like I said, can't F themselves out of a wet paper bag, a paper sack. It's all about the submissiveness that she gonna make you do anything to her. And she not gonna complain. And you know your Caymanian woman and your Caymanian wife or Jamaican women, they're gonna be like, no, you're not putting in that whole bobo. That is what this is all about. Some of y'all just nasty fuckers and you just need to admit it. That's the attraction. Anyway, I gotta go. I got a 10:30 appointment that has taken me about 6 months to get, so I can't miss it. My little co-host, Zeus, he is sitting here sleeping. Oi, oi, oi. Hey, Zeusy. Look at his little sleepy eyes. Oh my gosh. Time to wake up. You're going to have to go. Look at Zeus. He's like, woman. He makes little noises. He's the funniest dog. He'd be like, look at him now. He's like, why you woke me up? I was sleeping so good. Just leave me alone. Look at him. Want to go back and sleep now? What, a dog can sleep all day long? Hi, Zeus. What's going on? You living your best life, not true? Not true. You living your best little life. His little eyes like droopy, like, okay, can I get back to sleeping now? Anyway, honey child. Oi, we are gonna go. He's been sitting here quietly. He's such a good little dog. He's been sitting here nice and quiet. Not being bothered by nothing, taking it easy. We're gonna go. So I can, what does one say? Train the dog to catch prostitutes. Oh, no. I don't want Zeus around no prostitutes. I'm not gonna be, giving my dog no diseases or no bad behavior. Next thing I know, he'd be trying to hump everything around the place. Anyway, I gotta go. How about looking for a companion with a brain, says Brenda. Child, Miss Brenda, you know most of these men not got no sense already, right? Honest to God, some of them just, somebody says Zeus is suspended without pay for sleeping on the job. Oh my God. Yes. All right, folks, that's it. I got to get on the road and it's raining. Oh man. So I got to slow down. All right. I will see you guys tomorrow morning. We're going to keep on top of them. We're not giving up. That's right. Brenda said Zeus don't need no HIV. You better believe it. Hello. Anyway, see you guys tomorrow. We're going to continue the conversation. We got more people coming forward. Oh, this one wants to call. Oh, snaps. All right. We can get on it. See you guys tomorrow.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of The Cold Hard Truth on Bobo 89.1 FM. Cayman's #1 talk show is live weekdays from 7:30 a.m. Never miss an episode again. Watch anytime on CMR's Facebook and YouTube channels for the latest show episodes. Don't forget to follow us online on our social media channels and visit CaymanMarlRoad.com for all the latest news and community happenings.